I know we got a lot of first timers in the room tonight too, so we're gonna keep it simple and give you guys like the fundamentals of K-guard and then slowly build from there over the next few weeks. And we're gonna be studying this topic for a month. So if you guys don't get it tonight, don't worry about it, we'll come back to it. But K-guard, the position is basically a position from the guard where I start scooping underneath my partner's leg, okay? And I get here. Okay, so this position requires me to invert my knee. And what I mean by invert my knee is like point my knee to the ground as my foot hooks my partner's hip. Okay, on this opposite side here, my knee is like a knee shield, which prevents Isaiah from dropping his weight on me. Okay, and my goal in this position oftentimes is to elevate his knee off of the ground. Okay, so if his knee is on the ground, okay, I'm in K-guard, but I haven't really utilized K-guard to its fullest potential, and so I start getting this leg off the ground. Okay, so we're gonna be studying this position, but I just kind of want to start off with a high-level overview. Okay, so if you guys look at just how we utilize the legs in jiu-jitsu in general, okay, there are guards where I can wrap around my partner's body and play with my legs on the outside. This position is known as closed guard, and it's pretty classic jiu-jitsu position. It's what separates jiu-jitsu from wrestling, for example. Wrestlers never play off of their back. In jiu-jitsu, we're okay with our back being on the ground, so our partner can't take our back. And that also allows me, even as the bottom player, even though his head is higher than mine, and some people would say Isaiah is on top right now, my hips are actually on top of my partner's hips. Okay, and so because of that, I have a lot of ability to off balance and manipulate my partner and go into various different submissions because my legs are still in the game. Okay, so Professor Vinny has a great definition of what is guard. Guard is any position where my legs are in between me and my partner. Okay, so closed guard, again, is where my legs are on the outside, and we call it closed guard because my legs lock or close behind my partner's back. Again, this is a position on the outside. Okay, Isaiah, can you stand up for a second? De La Hiva is another guard where my legs play on the outside. Okay, my left leg in this case is hooking around Isaiah's lead leg here, controlling his leg, and my feet tend to play on the outside. Okay, K-guard, come back down to your knees. Again, my feet start off on the outside. Okay, so the reason why I bring up closed guard and De La Hiva guard is because they all go together. They're all positions where my legs are on the outside of my partner's body. Okay, so if you already like to play closed guard or you like to play De La Hiva guard, K-guard connects really well to those guards. Okay, if you don't know what that is and you're still learning for the first time, again, that's totally fine. I just want you recognizing legs on the outside. Let's compare that to if Isaiah's on his knees and I have my feet on the inside. This is butterfly guard. Okay, Isaiah, go to stand up. Okay, again, legs on the inside. Okay, we can also be in situations where we have one leg in, one leg out. Okay, again, two legs on the inside, two legs on the outside. Okay, so if we can just start to identify different leg positions or different leg configurations, I think that helps us better grasp the idea of the position. Okay, so I'm gonna have Isaiah go on the bottom real quick. And we're gonna work on just an entry to get into the position. Now, if our partner is sitting back on their heels like this, if Isaiah tries to reach underneath my leg to go to K-guard, you might find that a little difficult because there's not a lot of space. My butt is touching my heels, and Isaiah doesn't really have space to get in between my hamstring and my calf here. Okay, so because of that, we're just gonna start off with your partner in this posture. Just come off of your butt, okay? My weight is on my knees, but I'm allowing space underneath my hamstring and my calf on purpose because that's gonna help my partner learn the position. Okay, so as I start to lean forward, Isaiah's job is to scoop my leg and take his head in the direction of his hand and invert his knee. So you guys can see his left knee inverts down to the mat here. This knee becomes a wedge in between my knee. Okay, so it's hard for me to close my knee. And his foot is nice and shallow on top of my hip. Okay, if Isaiah's leg is a little deeper, okay, he's allowing me more access to this lever right here. And when I have greater access to his leg, it's easier for me to start ripping this leg off to the side and passing his guard. Let's compare that to when he has the K position here. His knee inverts, okay, and his foot is shallow on top of my hip. Okay, if he flexes his toes and keeps his shin nice and strong, if I try to take this foot off of my hip, it's not so easy. Okay, this knee shield again is designed to keep me off of him. Okay, you guys might also notice that as I lean forward, because my head is 12 o'clock and Isaiah's head is 3 o'clock, okay, he's not really in front of me, so I can't really smash him. And his knee shield is in my way. These toes are flexed right here. He's turning his toes up, hooking into my armpit. That's also a good position for us. Okay, and we're here. Okay, so let me show one detail real quick with the top leg. Okay, so for now, Isaiah's just gonna start off high. Okay, I'm gonna rotate. I'm gonna gable grip here. My toes with this outside leg, again, allow me to hook my partner's shoulder. So you guys can see I have this element of being able to control his shoulder by pulling his shoulder with my toes and my knee to my chest and extending my knee away from myself, okay, here. So I can kind of push pull. So a lot of times when I want to get into the position, I want to get his knee off the ground again, I'm going to pull him towards me with my toes and extend him away with my knee. So it's here, pull, push. You guys can see I can get his knee off the ground. Okay, and then one last detail with this hand here. Okay, so as I go under, it's really important that I get the right grip. I don't want to get finger to finger. Okay, I don't want to get here. I'm going to do a gable grip, so everybody go like this. Okay, 10 fingers, close your fingers. All 5 fingers connect on each side, and we just pancake our hands together here. Okay, so we're not doing this, we're not doing this, we're not doing this. Gable grip is palm to palm. And the hand that's going underneath my partner's leg, okay, my wristwatch is turning back towards myself here. My forearm with this top arm is wedging on top of my partner's thigh here. Okay, and your partner should have a hard time kind of sprawling their leg back from this position. Okay, so I just want to have you guys do right side, left side. So Isaiah, stay high. And I'm going to scoop the other side now. My knee inverts. My knee shield's blocking him, so if he tries to smash me, I can keep him away. Okay, looking at my wristwatch, gable grip. Okay, forearm on top of the thigh here. Okay, then I'm going to switch again. Isaiah staying nice and high for me. I'm switching, inverting, and getting to this position here. Okay, so we're just going from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, inverting my knee and controlling my partner's leg. Once I can get underneath my partner's base, we're gonna have a better time manipulating our partner's balance. Okay, any questions on just kind of the basics of the position so far? I know it might seem like a lot if you guys are looking at this for the first time. If I were to summarize this into one sentence, grab your partner's leg and invert your knee. Okay? On 3, 1, 2, 3. You're doing a pretty good job. I just want to highlight one little detail that I feel like is going to help us, and it's our hip positioning in relation to his center line. So the center line is the imaginary line that splits our body in half, that goes from our, like the middle of our brow to our nose, chin, sternum, belly button, right? If I look at that imaginary line on Professor Sean, I want my hips on that side. Okay, so some of you were getting a little jammed up because we're staying on that line and we're like, my knee doesn't fit, right? I want my hips going off of that line. Okay, and now my knee can invert and it's much easier for me to get into this position. Okay, so coming back to the closed guard, now we're gonna take a look at if your partner is sitting on their heels. Okay, so if I try to get underneath him here, this is difficult. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into what I like to call stage 2. The Gracie punch block series, they teach like stage 1. Okay, and the professor like tries to punch me, it'll be like stage 2. Okay, so I'm just gonna call this stage 2 even from a sport application. Okay, so if Professor Sean's on his knees, okay, I can open my guard, okay, and get to stage 2. So notice it's kind of like the same bicep tie we did from the takedowns tonight, where my forearm is blocking, but my hand is hooking. Okay, my toes, again, are flexed, so I can pull him forward. I don't want him disengaging from the position. Okay, I also don't want him coming too far forward. Okay, if Professor Sean fills this gap on me right here, and I try to go to kick guard, good luck. Okay, I don't want him dominating my hips. Okay, so if we land here, my hands are gonna frame his shoulders. Okay, so if he tries to press forward, okay, I fill that gap with my hands and then my knees. Okay, so now if he tries to fill that gap again on my hips, I take that away from him. I don't allow him to crowd me. Okay, and I go, again, T-Rex arms, or Professor Vinny calls this like praying mantis arms, behind the triceps here. So if he tries to back away from me, it's not the easiest thing. Okay, we'll take a look later if your partner starts to go up to jack stand and start to get a knee up the middle, but for now, we're gonna stay on 2 knees. Okay, we're gonna use the stage 2 position just to start lifting our partner. And you guys can see, as I start to lift him up, space opens up again, and now I can go right back into my position. Okay, so close guard. Okay, frame the shoulders, knees, stage 2. Okay, and now again, I can kind of elevate him up a little bit, And as I turn to the side, we're gonna add in one common counter that we're gonna see as we try to enter into our partner's leg. And that's a cross face. Okay, so as I go to reach for his leg, watch his hand try and stop my head. Okay, if his hand blocks my head, we're gonna have a hard time getting our grip and inverting our knee and getting deep into the position. Okay, so I want you guys to notice from stage 2, once I'm here, again, I'm trying to elevate him off his base, but as I go to turn to the side, my hand is doing what I like to call a reverse lat post, okay, where my hand crosses over and blocks here. Okay, and as I do this, I'm ducking my head. Okay, so if Professor tries to cross face me here, you guys can see I can use that to go under the wave, right? Cross face, and block him. Okay, if my elbow is too deep, that's no good. He can crunch me down and I'm not gonna get it. And again, if it's just my hand, sometimes it'll slip and he's gonna cross face me. So I want it like middle of my forearm. So here, bring him up, coming to the side, okay? And middle of my forearm, blocking that cross face as I duck under it. Going back to my same grip. Okay, so this time let's just add on one element of resistance, which is the cross face. Sorry, 2 elements. The second one is him sitting on his heels. Okay, so I gotta be able to create that space. And again, if he's sitting back, it's easy, right? I just open and hook. If he's crowding me, yeah, I gotta be able to frame him away to get my knees in there. Okay, any questions? No, the final position is still the same, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at a couple finishes from here. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Now that we know how to get into the position, and we know how to invert our knee, we know how to lock our hands and keep our partner's weight off of us, let's talk again about how we get our partner's knee off the ground. Okay, so from the same stage 2 setup, yeah, I'm getting him off his butt. I'm switching underneath his armpit here to that cross lat post, and I'm getting into the K-guard here. Okay, so if I do it with momentum, sometimes your partner's knee will already be off the ground. Okay, so I've been drilling this with Ellie and Toby at home, and one of the reactions that I'm trying to drill with them is when their partner, because the kids do this all the time, is they want to stack each other. Okay, so Isaiah, can you just like lean forward? Yeah, like the kids do this a lot. And try and crowd their partner. Okay, so that's a good time, okay, if I'm here and Isaiah goes to crowd me, okay, for me to change the angle and let his weight just go over me. Okay, so if I time it right, his knee might come off the ground already. Okay, we're gonna be studying K-guard in the gi also. So like tomorrow's class, I'll show you guys how to use the collar to help you take advantage of that timing and momentum to get your partner's knee off the ground. Okay, but if your partner's weight was already coming forward, their knee will come off the ground pretty effortlessly. Okay, if not, yeah, as I go to rotate, his knee is still on the ground here, then again, 3 main ways I can get his knee off the ground. Okay, number 1 is I can pull with my hook here and then push him away, and that helps me get his knee off the ground. Okay, number 2, sometimes if I feel like he's heavy, instead of my foot being wedged on his hip and my knee being on the ground, I just take my foot off a little bit more towards his belly. Okay, and that can help me push to get his knee off the ground. Okay, and the third option is I can use either my knee or my foot on this side of his armpit. Okay, so sometimes I'm here, like Tim over there is super long, his legs are so long, his knee naturally fits on this side of the armpit. And if that's the case for you, that's great, because you can use that as a wedge to off balance your partner too. Okay, but what's even better than my knee is my foot. Okay, if I can push with my foot and Isaiah tries to get his weight back on this knee, it's hard. I'm using my foot to keep all of his weight on his left knee right now. Okay, and once I get my partner's knee off the ground, ideally I'm aiming his knee towards my belly button. Okay, if his knee comes up on my chest, okay, this is gonna be hard for me to pass this leg over. And some of you guys already know where we're going with the K position. Okay, we're gonna start to fire up and over our partner's leg. Okay, and if his knee is high in my chest, that just becomes really difficult. It's much easier if his knee is towards my belly button for me to fire this leg up and over. Okay, and then now I can start attacking his leg. Okay, so as we go to elevate your partner's knee off the ground, try to get it towards your belly button. So one more time, close guard, stage 2, we're elevating him up, and we're here. Again, I can pull and extend to get his knee off the ground, and again, wedging it to my belly button nice and tight. That's 1. Okay, number 2, I can use my foot. Okay, so instead of hooking the side of his hip, I push his belly, that helps me. And I can also combo that with my knee or my foot on the near side armpit to extend him up and away. Okay, then I can start to cross over, and eventually we're gonna start to attack. Okay, tonight I'm not gonna go over the details on the finish just because we have some first timers, and I'd feel horrible if your first class, like, what did you learn? Oh, we learned heel hooks. Like, we're not gonna go over the details on a leg lock, okay? But some of you guys already know how to get to the position, so I'll let you guys finish from there. Okay, otherwise, what I want you to do is just stop once you get your partner's knee on your stomach. Okay, so we're here, 1, 2, and then how do I get this knee to my stomach? One of those 3 options. Okay, and once we can get here, I'll show you guys a safer option after the next break. Okay? Any questions on getting your partner's knee off the ground? Nope. We're good? All right, guys, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now that we know how to get the knee off the ground, we're just gonna pick back up from this position once we're already in the position and knee is on our stomach. Okay, so if your partner's knee starts turning in, it's easier for me to go over and around this leg and start going to this backside. Okay, so if I wanted to go for the leg lock again, I want to triangle my knee, my legs here, and turn my top knee down to the mat, and I want to pull my partner's ankle up like this. Okay, ideally I'm trying to get into this armpit here, but I just want to show you guys creating a bend in your partner's leg just so your partner can't run. Okay, so if his leg is straight and my knee is open, Devin's going to be able to slip his knee through that hole and he's going to get out of the position. Okay, but if I can turn my top knee down, okay, this already makes it a little bit harder to kick out. Like, he's pulling me now. But because his leg is straight, he still has a chance of slipping, especially when we're sweaty. Okay, but if I can create a bend in the leg, okay, try to kick out, it's very difficult for him to evade the position. And now I just pull his toes into my armpit and I can go for my finish. Okay, I'm only going to show that once for those of you guys who already kind of know the position. Okay, otherwise, what I want everybody else working on is once we get to this position again where your partner's knee is on your stomach, okay, let's say his knee is opened a little bit more. Okay, that makes it a little bit difficult for me to pass this leg over. Yeah, try to point your knee up. Yeah, you guys see how it's harder for me to go around into the opposite hip? Can I get a yes? Yeah, okay, let's make sure you guys pay attention. Okay, so hard for me to get to the far hip, but because this knee is open, now I'm gonna thread this leg underneath him. Okay, so this leads us right back into X guard. So from the position we were in earlier, where my foot was on his opposite hip, or sorry, opposite shoulder, okay, or his near side armpit, it doesn't really matter. The difference in this position here, again, was just to get his knee off the ground. So whether it's in the armpit or on the far side hip, okay, if he starts opening his knee, I can't go around the corner, but I can start threading this leg under. Okay, and now we're using the K guard to get into X guard. Okay, X guard is just a position where my feet kind of cross, okay, and both of my knees point to the outside here. Okay, so from this position, I have a ton of sweep options. Okay, but the easiest one is once my feet are in position, I just extend them away. Okay, and if Devin stays up on his hands and he doesn't flop to his shoulder, okay, then I stand in base. I push his knee, 1, 2, 3, and I just come up and I sweep him. Okay, so one more time. Close guard. We're going stage 2. We're getting him up, getting my knee in. Again, I already got his knee up onto my belly, but look, he's opening his knee, so it's hard for me to go around the corner. So I already know I'm gonna have a hard time with that, so instead I opt to go under his base here. Okay, so if you guys just look at my legs for a second, one leg again is wedged behind his knee on this side, my other foot didn't move. Okay, and then from this position, I just start extending so I can get up from my shoulder to my elbow, elbow to my hand. Okay, and sometimes people will just fall over already, but if Devin has good base, I'm gonna go 1, okay, 2, and this just allows me to keep him stretched out as I look to stand up. Okay, so D, try to put your right leg back on the ground. Okay, again, if he starts turning his knee down, he's gonna give me more leg lock opportunities, so keep your knee open. Okay, try to put me back on my back. Hard, because my legs are stretched. Okay, I just get up. And now I can start sweeping. Okay, I'm gonna have Devin do it to me one time. Okay, so we're here, stage 2. He's getting me up, getting into the K guard. Again, I start opening my knee, so he starts threading underneath me here. Okay, we're turning the K guard into X guard. Now he's gonna start sweeping me. Oh, beautiful. Okay, questions? All right, we're gonna wrap up with that tonight. If you guys have any questions, just raise your hand. I'll come around individually and help. On 3, 1, 2, 3.